Greetings, dear ones. I'm going to try to do this. This is Friday, the 3rd of April, and I'm out here in the Labyrinth. There's some beautiful bird sounds, but there's also some disruptive sounds, so I'm hoping we can work around them. I'm not sure how this is all going to play out. I have walked the Labyrinth virtually with a friend, and it was colleague and friend. It was extremely powerful, and she was able to. And then I did so another time when the camera was at a different angle, and it was very uncomfortable. So hopefully you all can be able to walk with me and at the same time enjoy and deepen. I would recommend that you grab a pen, paper, journal, what have you. It'd be great if you have a candle lit. Definitely have some water beside you. And prepare to just kind of go in. We're going to be exploring a bit as we go inward to the center of the labyrinth, and then we will be receiving all of the healing responses to that on the way back out. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to see any of your comments or questions as we're doing this, but please put them in the comments later, or contact me, DM me, what have you, for clarification, for any troubleshooting, bumps or anything, because this is going to be a combination and a confluence of so many powerful energetics that I expect you to really feel and receive and experience some deep cleansing, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, as well as receiving all kinds of gifts and newness from these energetics, from the current time that we're in, season we're in, combination of so many different holidays, etc. So I'm going to turn the camera around and hopefully let you see. This is the gatekeeper stone, and I asked for a message waiting for us at the seal our journey. But this is a very unusual stone, and it has been in place from the very start, and it watches and guards over the labyrinth. So it's always good to just honor that stone and acknowledge that you are going into, let's see, it's into the labyrinth, and give gratitude for its watchfulness. So this is the entrance, and I keep at the entrance both some of these little, sorry, it's tilting, some of these balls that are from a gum tree that is in need of some assistance, but they are rather painful when you hold them in your hand. So I leave these here as an object to allow people to imbue that with their pain, their wound, their discomfort, their physical dis-ease. And then on the other side there are several stones that each person is invited to pick up and leave at some particular spot that they're called to within the labyrinth, within the ring of stones or the lines of stones, so that their prayer or what they received, the gift that they received from the labyrinth, stays and continues to be transmitted to them. So I'm going to grab just at least one of these little balls just to use at any single point when it's so appropriate. And so when we're starting, I'm going in with the acknowledgement that we are from is very, very powerfully imbued and constantly more and more energetics every time I have gone to any particular location, away from my home, or to a conference or gathering with colleagues. All of the energetics and everything that was worked, all of the aspects are brought back and transmitted or allowed to flow into the labyrinth, and she takes whatever it is that she needs, and the stones respond to those energetics. Oftentimes I've come home from an event and literally the stone people pop out of the stones. At different times of the year, they're very, very quiet. They haven't really fully come out of their winter sleep, and they were under the snow for so long that I think that's why they're a little bit hesitant to come out, despite the nice weather that we've had on certain days. So hopefully you've gathered your items, gathered yourself, are seated comfortably. I would suggest staying seated at the moment until later, when you might want to lie down and take in the healing energetics that are already present, already working, of course, but are going to be transmitted more directly. So as we're walking, or as I'm walking, really allow yourself to allow your body and your energy field and your wider self, which is your soul self, and your guides and teachers and masters, and very powerfully your emotional self, to assist you in bringing forward that which wants and is ready to be cleansed, that which wants and is ready to be explored, that is ready and wants to be dismantled, or bring you some more of yourself, another piece of yourself, or bring you wisdom, clarity, information about you and what's internal and unconscious, because that's what's really powerful. When we are aware of something in our consciousness, we take steps to handle it, to adjust to it, to be aware of it, to change our thoughts or our perspective towards it, and that's wonderful. But we are at a point in time when we need a much deeper access, a much deeper opening, a much deeper revealing, a much deeper discovery of who we are, beyond what we think and beyond what we have been trained to believe. So in that offering, you can say, I am asking and I am allowing my body. I am asking and I am allowing my energy field. I am. Says we had a pause there, but we were going through the asking and allowing process. And I'm going to repeat that just in case it didn't come across. I am asking and I am allowing my body. I am asking and I am allowing my energy field. I am asking and I am allowing my wider self. I am asking and I am allowing my emotional body. So powerful. I am asking and I am allowing my guides, teachers, masters, all of me to join me here and now, assisting me in this process. And so we're going to take our first steps into the Labyrinth. I'm going to try to turn it down a little bit and see if that helps. Good. And as we're walking between the stones, these stones have been here for 15 years or so at this point, and so they and the energetics within the land and the magic and the diva of this particular property and the diva of New Jersey has been working with and deepening the power and the energetics in the Labyrinth for many years. So we're just slowly moving in for you to allow for deepening and dropping a bit more into you. And I'm hearing to pause at this point and invite you to really tune in and listen to your body. Not with your mind, not with your thoughts, but much like you would if you were trying to figure out what's going on with your pet or a small baby who cannot express in words, but they can give you signs and signals and clues and little pieces of information. And so that's the listening that we're inviting in. A listening that is far beyond your ears, your brain, and instead allowing your body to come to you rather than you go to it. Now, you may be well aware of some physical challenge that you're having right now, or you may be wondering, some discomfort that you've had, what's causing it, what's going on. And while we may discover and do research about the physical aspects, that is the surface presentation versus the internal reason, whether it's a patterning of your past, or whether it is actually, in all cases, a spiritual message. So I'm going to give you a moment here, and because you may be aware of a plane going over, and certainly the birds are participating with us, and all of those sounds, whether it's seemingly disruptive or the lovely and varied sounds of the birds or the sounds of my words. Sound is very prevalent as an energetic these past couple weeks. And sound can be inaudible as well. So really allow. You may not receive in this very moment, but it is in the asking that the power of your tuning in way of listening can allow for information you would not normally expect. So just allow that to be there. You can stay in that spot of the invitation for information. And again, this isn't head information. Or you can continue and just allow the deepening of your own curiosity, your own desire to know thyself, to always have more of yourself so that you may have more freedom. So I'm coming to the end of one turn and moving around to the next. pathway. And that's the beauty of a labyrinth. A labyrinth, there is no thinking, unlike a maze. In a labyrinth, you simply put one foot in front of the other, and the path leads you without thinking, which is why for 6,000 years this has been a method of moving prayer or contemplation or deepening beyond the brain. So, as we are now having the energy of brain around us, I invite you to just notice, not do anything with, not excavate, not look for, but allowing any thoughts, any thought patterning, any ruminating that you do on a regular basis, any self-criticism or other criticism, judgment, all of those thoughts and thought processes. I'm sure you're aware that each day we have tens of thousands of thoughts. And they are beyond lightning fast. So now just take a moment or two and allow your deeper mind to bring to you the thought patterns, the thought types, the ruminations, the looping of any thought type to come to the fore. And we're offering this to Lady Labyrinth. For thoughts become beliefs, and as we delve deeper and deeper, those thoughts become knowledge or knowing of thyself, and eventually become wisdom. So despite the detrimental effects, there is ultimately a wonderful result. So just, many of them may come, but just notice which one, again without thinking, but perhaps allowing it to just pop in, which thought pattern, which type of thoughts, which things that you ruminate on is inviting itself to be explored today. And just jot it down. And so we continue. Again, I'm going to try to let you see a lot of the different stones here, because one's shape or color or something about that stone may actually assist you in this process. And just continuing to allow, and remember, the earth benefits from the discard of our being. It recycles, it benefits from, like, different organs in our bodies that are used to cleanse. So too does the earth take those negative, detrimental, harmful aspects of us and recycle them, bringing them to us anew, utilizing them in new and wonderful ways, much like we use manure to fertilize and bring forth food. So we're going around another curve. Hopefully it's not causing any discomfort or dizziness. And just allowing. The energetics are deepening as we're going in. The energetics from the labyrinth herself, from the deep earth, from all of the many beings, the stone beings, the microbes, the insects, the birds, all of the dead leaves, all assisting us to cleanse and death, allow to die, not just adjust, not just move anymore. Old ways, old parts of us must actually die. And here my tree is a little bent over from the snow. So I'm just going to move her out of the way. Him, actually, it's a him. Out of the way a bit as we move along. And as we are in sight of the pond, I'm going to pause here and allow for some really deep emotions to come forward. This day is usually one where I am in quiet and contemplation and prayer. On Good Friday, it's been a habit for decades. And many, many years ago, of course, as a sort of practicing Catholic, I went through the process of the Stations of the Cross and really felt into the path of this incredible master, this incredible example of what we can become, and really felt into the sorrow and the loss and the grief, not merely for what he chose to endure, but also the loss. And then as years went by, it became more, and even today, the loss and sadness and sorrow and grief of what men choose to do to one another, to the land, to innocence. And if you'll remember, it was the crowd that decided whether Jesus or Barabbas would die. And of course, then as now, people are being brainwashed, hyped up, pushed into, but no one can be pushed into something that isn't already a tendency. So really allow yourself to feel into some of the sorrow and the grief and the loss that you may be experiencing as we're watching what's going on in our world, not only the many wars that are currently active, but the destruction of our forests, our food, our land, our air, or the attempted destruction. For it's not going to occur. But that doesn't dismiss the sorrow and the loss and the grief that we feel. And if tears come for any one particular issue or aspect or occurrence recently, please let them flow. That is an offering to the universe, it's an offering to the land, it's an offering to humanity. And it is an avenue by which you may have the opportunity to tap into an older, deeper, more unconscious sorrow and loss and grief, whether it's of what you did not have, what you expected and did not occur, the loss of innocence, the loss of what could have been, the loss of the family unit. Very up this week, this feeling alone within a family. Many are feeling alone and a little bit helpless as to how to make the changes in the world that we'd like to see and stop the harm and the hurt and the suffering. And again, what may pop up are not necessarily things that will come in nice, clear English sentences, but little symbols, flashes from a movie, sound, song title. You have a vast library within you of information that your system can bring you. When we try to seek it out, it becomes more elusive and stays in a very mental game. When you drop in to allow a little more deeply, then your unconscious and subconscious can pull from that vast library and bring you the little clues and bites of information that will ultimately be able to be put together, much like those great mysteries, Agatha Christie, Sherlock Holmes, and many more. So another curve. I'm going slow so people don't get dizzy, trying to allow for a perspective of you walking, because this is where things are getting deeper and deeper. And now I'm going to call in an even more powerful reflection, and the energetics for the reflection of that which is spiritually underlying anything that you may be challenged with right now, anything that you are provoked by, catalyzed by, triggered by, that's going on in the world or being done by others or even yourself. And just really know that nothing is without purpose. We all are aware that these drastic things going on in our world are a process of evolution. For man to become more of who and what he truly is, which is why the great example of Jesus that is so prominent today is so powerful. He, as did we, chose to come into a human form to have and utilize all of the emotions, all of the experiences, all of the physical, mental, energetic potential that lies within being human on a planet this physical and at this dimensional level. So anything is coming, jot it down. Otherwise, just allow for the deepening. We're coming to the center. And this is where I usually, this is the center stone. And the light is a little odd, but oftentimes you can see the beings in this stone, some very powerful beings. Usually one here, another here, and this one comes out on occasion. It's a kind of a dragon being, his tail coming down like this. But unfortunately, we've had a bird visit within the past few minutes, and so they're distorting a little bit, but that's for the benefit of the masters, who obviously are choosing to not reveal themselves at this moment. And so we are here at the center, and I'm going to take this spiky ball that has a lot of painful points on it, representing not only my, but your pains, upsets, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and we're going to just really hand it off. You have done the work of inviting, you have done the work of jotting down if anything came to you, you have done the process of willing to change, willing to become, and now we are allowing the earth, the labyrinth, the magic, the divas, the masters, the stones, the elements, land, air, fire, and water, the directions of the east for illumination, for wide-eyed wonder and playfulness and childlike innocence. The below, all that goes on underneath, and not just under the earth, but within us, the underlying principles and laws of the universe, all that is under everything we experience and everything that we see, hear, and the above, the cosmos, the pulsars, the planets, the galaxies, all the many cosmic bodies, everything is in on this. Everything is with us. Everything is in their own process of evolution and growth and expansion. And so that is the energy that we're calling in, that growth and expansion and the knowing of thyself. For the more you know yourself, the more you have yourself. The more you have of yourself, the more choice you are able to make. The more choice you are able to make, the more freedom you have. The more freedom to explore. And that is the purpose of everything in this universe, to allow the one, the source, the all, to experience itself in ever more wide and varied ways. And you are one of those means. You as a soul, and you participating in this particular evolutionary process as a human. So now that we've called in many of the energetics that are going to assist in the cleansing and the expansion and growth, we're going to turn around simply from that center stone. And we are going to walk back out again. allowing for any gifts, any ideas, any symbols, sounds, shapes to come. Again, the more unbidden, the more you allow them to come to you, the more powerful. So one of the things in preparing for today was the difference between seeing and experiencing our body as a machine, as something that we need to adjust and maintain and work with, whether it's through the allopathic medical system or whether it's through natural means, but still something to adjust and to fix, versus allowing our bodies, our physical beings, trying to allow the plane to have its way, to be our friend, to be a companion, to be our loved one. And our way of interacting then changes very, very radically. If you are feeling and want to enjoy and take pleasure in and to know and to talk to and have deep collaboration and cooperation, then build that relationship. Allow that relationship to come in. So again, moving away from our idea, our thoughts, our mental experience of our bodies, but instead speaking to our bodies and relating as you would a friend. Oh, I'm being asked to pause here. I'm just noticing one of these interesting stones. Not sure if you can see this, but this is developed this year. There it is. An actual target. This was not here before. Came out this season. So I'm very grateful and in awe and wonder at what it's going to share or teach. Just a little shot of the magnolia that's in full bloom. Hopefully the sound of the plane and the birds are still helping you to connect with you physically in a new and different way. And more than anything, if you've ever worked with me before, you know that it is about feeling. We can think and have cognitive awareness, but until and unless we feel something, we are merely adjusting, managing, controlling, handling. So this is the backside of the master stone, or the center stone. And I'm being told to pause for a moment here. And really, as a butterfly, I hope you saw that little white butterfly, first butterfly of the season. Just at a moment when I'm told to invite everyone to allow for those thoughts, the new way of thinking, a new relationship, a new freedom from thought patterns and ways of ruminating and the things that we ruminate on that you left here in the labyrinth, and now bringing more air and space to your brain, to your mind. And we're going to continue to move on the pathways of the labyrinth. Again, hopefully, and if you notice, here is that stone again. So the path is not like a spiral. If you've not walked a labyrinth before, it winds back and around on itself, creating much more distance than one would think. And again, now this stone is coming out much stronger. To me, that always seems it's getting more clear, as if it were little hieroglyphs and symbols of a language. So remembering that our systems speak in symbol and metaphor much more deeply than in clear English sentences. That has to process through the brain. And I'm hearing to pause about here. And I'm really, really aware of a, how do I want to put this? A lightness and flow. I'm really feeling the beautiful pink full moon and the energies that it brought into us of harmony and middle ground and equilibrium and lightness. The pink full moon is named from the small tiny blossoms that are usually coming forth at this time of the year. So really inviting and allowing the blossoming of new emotional states, of emotions that were put away when you were little and only brought out through an adult form. Really allow those, that glee, that ecstatic sensation of anything and everything is possible. Anything and everything can be done. A child puts on a cape and knows that they are flying. A child takes sticks and stones and builds a fort. It isn't just sticks and stones anymore. It becomes the fort. Allow that to come in and know that you are in the midst of full and utter and complete possibility and potentialities. This is a new universe with all new physics, mathematics, evolving in an entirely new way, allowing for us to create anything and everything. Allow that lightness, allow that truth, for it is truth at this point. Physics is, and cosmology, astronomy, everything, biology, are all bringing information forth at this time that we do create this reality and that we can choose and decide how we want it to be. And that's what we're going to focus on in the upcoming Alchemical Magical Creation course, is to be able to, not just with our minds, not just with our ideas of how it can be done, but like children, in that anything and everything is possible, and it is real state of being from within us. yes, some cleansing needs to occur. However, what can come with our desires, our wishes, our dreams, for it looks seemingly now as if we cannot do it physically, logically, and as things have always been built. So I'm being invited to pause here, and a wonderful crow just flew in, bringing in the energy of law, spiritual law, universal law. For as those wishes and dreams are placed in this law, in this spiritual law, you may experience your energy field and your spiritual body and we're going to move along. And again, my poor little flowering plum is laying down from the snow. And still assisting us with beautiful little blossoms. And we're passing the sundial with the crow right above it to indicate that the laws of time itself have changed. What we thought would take decades, what we thought will take a long time to repair, is not the case anymore. The new physics of this universe, time does not have the same constraints. So our wishes go into a magical field. By magical, I mean lightning fast. Something can happen, just like we see in stories, snapping our fingers, and it occurs. Coming around another curve, trying to keep you from getting dizzy. So really let that knowing that time is not the same constraint that it always has been. And moreover, you don't have to do it. You simply have to sit in the wish, in the desire. Experiencing freedom, more freedom hopefully in your body, more freedom and an energy of Passover, that which we believe will occur, that which we fear, that which limits us, is now in Exodus. And we are free from those constraints. Again, as we hear the plane flying over, an aspect that, or an object that allows us for freedom. Freedom of travel, freedom of expansion, freedom of getting to know, freedom of connection. Just allow for any last symbol, sound, shape, song, song title, story, book, legend, myth, movie, cartoon, character from a book. All these and more are ways and means by which our unconscious, subconscious, and beyond conscious speak to us. I'm going to pause because we're coming to the opening again of the labyrinth. And taking a nice deep breath, allowing your ribs to expand on either side. We often effort to get that breath deep enough, but we also want to allow for expansion of lungs, bringing in the air in a wider way, not just deeper. And so we're going to come to the end of the labyrinth. And with this particular labyrinth, we always exit to the left, acknowledging, giving gratitude to, and just touching the gatekeeper that has assisted us in this process. Sorry about that. And I have our oils and the message to seal the process in. Our first oil is spikenard, and that would be going on your core, your essence, which is in the very center of your body. And so the invitation is that as you have reverence for the very essence of you, it will enable you to anchor in to the blessings of this life and also as a blessing. So we're having a little bit of a connection issue, so I'm going to try to see if I can raise it up a little bit. So as you have reference for the essence of you, it will enable you to anchor in as a blessing and to the blessings of this earth, to your sense of yourself, so that you may experience and feel the passion of, or be able to follow the passion by following your innate, that's your deep internal voice, your soul's voice, and dispelling any pains. This is a great oil. It's wintergreen. It's marvelous for bone pain, and so these aspects of us, these issues that go down to the very bones of us, are being dispelled. Hawaiian sandalwood, desires, having faith in our passion and our power and our creative abilities, so that we may walk the path of beauty. This is Hinoki, and that's their message. And we're going to say goodbye to the very interesting gatekeeper stone. And as always, a little nod and gratitude to the labyrinth herself and all of the energetics. Our beautiful magnolia that's present today, and to all the birds and to all of the beings that were here, visible and non-visible. And I invite you to look into the possibility of next Wednesday. I'll be doing an open class, an open intro class to the upcoming Alchemical Magical Creation course. It's once a month for 4 months, and We'll be connected on WhatsApp and updating each other on new and wonderful, not only ahas, but synchronicities and magic that's occurring in our life as a result of the course, because it always happens each time I teach this course. And as well, please reach out and consider the possibility of connecting for a one-on-one that really, people who have done work, are on let's say a kind of trailblazing soul mastery path this lifetime, are being called to go deeper and deeper and deeper. Things that you think you've worked on and have gotten a good, like I said, awareness of, is now being invited to go much more deeply to the root of the root, and thereby not only transmuting it and transfiguring your life, but also working that piece, lineage levels, family levels, cultural levels, both the culture you're living in now and the cultures of your heredity, as well as the relationship between man and the earth. There's always a replication of that. And moreover, even more deeply, the change of human nature itself to change and evolve this species. That's the potential that occurs. That's what happens in sessions. So please consider, and everything is moving very, very quickly now, so what used to take much more effort, much more time, is now moving along very, very quickly. So I invite you to set up a mini session, and we can talk and do a read and see where your system is at. And aside from that, please enjoy this confluence of energies from, we're still riding the equinox energies. We're still riding the powerful solar flare, which brought beautiful northern lights, very, very south in the world, from its normal paths, as well as the beautiful pink moon in Libra that brings us that harmony and middle ground and reciprocity. And hopefully you are able to leave some water out in the full moon. If you weren't, just know that each and every night, the stars, the moon, the cosmic bodies can infuse water, as can the daytime, the sun. If you want some energy, if you want some passion, let the sun imbue water and drink it. You can put these both on your plants. You can give them to your pets. We'll also be working in the Alchemical Magical Creation course of how to infuse water in other ways to use on a daily basis. Just one of many things we'll be doing. And we're in the midst of, again, Ramadan just ended, a full month of prayer and offerings, and moving into Passover, this celebration, this recognition, this remembrance of freedom, remembrance of an exodus from the confines and the old form of one person having say-so over so many others, being enslaved to something, someone, and the freedom that comes from that. And the beautiful ceremony and celebration of Easter, of Ostera, which was celebrated for thousands of years before the Christian Easter, in renewal and birthing, and the symbol of the egg being so present right now. We all come from egg, all mammals in one form or another, even plants, the seeds, the bulbs, they can all be seen as forms of an egg out of which something becomes in the physical, a form in the physical. So allow that egg as you're decorating them or seeing them around, or gift yourself an egg. Find an egg, or decorate an egg, or make an egg, or buy an egg, of decoration, and let that be the symbol, let that be the energy, let that be the form of your new project, your new self, your new ideas, the new way of this earth. And then as well, we have the example of what is referred to as, the rising up of the divine aspect of Jesus. And after having had the human experience, and yet here on this planet, it is not about transcending, getting away from the planet, but quite the contrary. And I believe that that's what my lesson is from his life, is to bring that divinity down and in the physicality, down and in as a human. And as I've said for so long, the more human you become, the more divine you feel, the more divine you experience yourself. So really ride all of these powerful energies. You're welcome to come and walk the labyrinth. Just give me a call if you're in the area so that I can make arrangements, make sure there's no clients here or anything else. You reach out by DM, call me, email, what have you. And if I'm free, I'm happy to walk the labyrinth with you and read anything that's coming forward as well. So with that, as always, it is with the greatest of honor, gratitude, and love for your presence here on the planet. Until next time.